Does the idea of writing about other people overwhelm you? Whether you're writing fiction or memoir, but especially memoir, I think we struggle writing our characters in memoir because they're real people. If that overwhelms you, I have a trick to share with you today. I'll also provide a writing prompt at the end of this video. I want to begin by just acknowledging that it is difficult. Writing in general is difficult. We tend to have all kinds of ideas and all kinds of things to write about. So much happens in a day that we can talk about. So when you consider the events of a lifetime, it can be tough to begin. So much of the advice that I hear myself giving to writers is to start small. I come by that advice honestly, because when I first began to write, I did start small. Instead of writing 10 pages, I wrote 2 paragraphs. Instead of writing about my entire family, I started with my mother. Instead of trying to write about every place my family had ever lived, I chose one place when we lived on the Tonawanda Indian Reservation outside of Buffalo. That made the task so much more manageable. So actually, I'm giving you 2 tricks. The first trick is to just break things down. But today I want to give a very concrete example, and it has to do with writing about people. And why is writing our people so difficult? I think it's because they matter so much. Whether you're writing memoir or fiction or poetry, people or characters are the heartbeat of our writing. It's nearly impossible to write a good essay or story or memoir without including other people. So, for example, even though my first book was a childhood memoir, I don't believe that it's largely about me. In other words, I am the camera through which the story flows, but much of what I wrote was about other people. I was trying to show the reader the things that I had seen and thought and felt, which is to say you can't get away from writing other people. But again, it's complicated, especially parents who are the planets that children orbit. I can't think of many memoirs that don't include some parent or parental figure. But writing about people is also challenging because people are complicated. And thank goodness. I guess it would be boring if we were all just, easy to figure out. Or maybe it wouldn't be boring. Maybe it would save us a lot of money in therapy. But the reality is that human beings are complicated. For that reason, I think when you begin to write about, let's say, a parent or an ex-husband or the friend who disappointed you, it can feel like trying to catch a butterfly with a net. So here's my tip. Start with the hands. The writer Jane Addams wrote, "Perhaps nothing is so fraught with significance as the human hand." I think that's right. A hand becomes a stand-in for the person, or at least it allows us a place to zoom in so that instead of saying my mother was 5 foot tall with auburn hair and carried extra weight around the hips, I'll begin with her hands, which were freckled and small and always moving through the air. Hands that knew how to sketch horses, hands that made biscuits, hands that gardened, hands that lifted her binoculars to her eyes when we went to the wildlife refuge. By beginning with my mother's hands, I give you a sense of who she is. Instead of trying to draw a complete picture, we zoom in to an important aspect and you learn about her perhaps more effectively, I would say more effectively, through her hands or the action of her hands. And when I say hands, I mean the physical description, but I also mean what the hands do. What are the habits this person has with a hand? Do they cover their mouths when they laugh? Do they grip them around rosary beads while they pray? Do they wear a ring, maybe an old wedding band? Or perhaps like my mother, they wore no jewelry at all. Is there a scar? What are their fingernails like? Are they soft hands, rough hands? Do they stuff them in their pockets or tap when they get nervous? So the prompt I'm sharing with you today is to, first of all, choose just one person. Second of all, write about their hands. And the cool thing about writing about their hands is that you will organically begin to write about other things as well. Writing about my mother, let's say lifting the binoculars to her eyes while looking for a blue heron, would naturally lead me to write about the refuge where she was doing that. Or if she's rolling out biscuits, I will naturally begin to describe that kitchen with the cracked linoleum and the old wooden cupboards. While the prompt is to write about the person's hands, start there, but let yourself go. See where that leads you. If you can't remember their hands, do the best you can. Maybe look at a photograph. We tend to look at all kinds of things in photographs, the background, people's faces, what they're wearing. But I always like to look at people's hands. What are they doing with them? Are they clutching something? Do they seem like they don't know what to do with their hands? Are they wrapped around something? Are they shoved in pockets? Are they carrying something? No detail is too small. In fact, what I'm telling you is to use the small details as a portal to bring you to the larger story. So make yourself a cup of coffee or tea or the drink of your choice, settle in with a notebook, and take 10 minutes to write about someone's hands. I hope this prompt helps get you started or deepens your writing about another person. Let me know in the comments if you tried this prompt and if it worked for you. Good luck, write about hands, and let me know how it goes.